All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Man, somebody's out there in the world straight up delusional. You know how the UK dudes, shout out to my UK people, man, and even the ones that don't like me. You know how they use that word? You're delusional. You're delusional. Hey, Ryan Garcia, brother, you are delusional. He says that he will be Muhammad Ali if he beats Gervonta Tank Davis. Let's talk about what Ryan Garcia had to say and whether or not he will be one of the greatest fighters of all time and get massive amounts of respect for beating Gervonta Tank Davis. Let's do that in this video. All right, welcome back, man. This is going to be a really, really fun subject because I get to talk about things that fighters that I really like. Okay, I like Ryan Garcia because he's doing a lot of talking. He's doing all his talking and he's keeping me interested in boxing, which is wonderful when you're living in the quarantine. I'm sure you guys know that. Anything to change up the pace, man, and just keep this boxing thing going. I love it. So Ryan Garcia has been giving interviews, been on his social media like a lot of these young people are living through social media. So in a way, these guys are built for quarantine because most of their communication doesn't take place person to person regardless. But he says in his article, the article came out from Boxing Scene and it's up on Boxing Scene. You can go check it out. By the way, I do own an apology for another video, but I'll do that towards the end of this video. So stay tuned for a slight correction of the record that I will be making towards the end of this video. Oh, and that is, I just might as well cut to it. Sean Porter is going to meet with Terrence Crawford. He did not already meet with Terrence Crawford. I read too fast. I messed that up. I apologize. We'll correct that. You know, it'll be corrected in one of the next video, whatever the next video that I do with Sean Porter, which should be coming pretty soon because I'm looking for a reason to talk about Sean Porter, just like I'm looking for a reason to talk about Alexander Usyk. But that's the subject for another day, man. Alexander Usyk just out there swinging in the wind, man. Dude, this dude's out there swinging in the wind. It's bad on him. But Gervonta Davis is supposed to be the guy that is going to elevate Ryan Garcia to new levels where people are going to say, hey, this kid just isn't talking. This dude is the real deal. You know, he said he's going to knock out Gervonta Davis. He might give Gervonta Davis a run back to knock him out again. So, you know, that's where he is on it. He said, man, Ryan, that Gervonta Davis is too small, all that good old stuff, right? Because they're both at 135 pounds. But they're not both the same size guy. Ryan Garcia is about 5'10". He's about 5'10" and is going to eventually be up at 147 pounds. And Gervonta Davis is like 5 nothing, and 135 pounds is exactly where he needs to stop. That said, those are two different level of fighters. Okay, those are two different level of fighters. Ryan Garcia is not Gervonta Davis. Okay, and I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis does a lot of crazy stuff, you know, talks a lot of smack or whatever. Just, you know, the stuff with his girlfriend, the stuff with missing weight. I got all of that. I understand why he's with Floyd Mayweather Jr. I understand why people don't like Tank. I got it. But Tank, let me say this very nicely about Tank. Tank will beat the brakes off of you, okay? Little Tank will beat the brakes off of you. And he will beat the brakes off of Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is not remotely the same level of talent as Gervonta Davis. You can look at these dudes in the ring and see, if there is a way that Ryan Garcia can win that fight, it'll be because he's tall and he's long and he can stay on the outside against Gervonta Davis and box him to a decision win. But that's not going to happen because Gervonta Davis got faster feet and moves better than at this point to me looks like a very flat-footed Ryan Garcia. That's my take on what would actually happen in that fight. But let's get on the more crazy thing, which is the comparison to Muhammad Ali. I know you guys have noticed this by now. Muhammad Ali, for every generation of boxers, is the target. You want to communicate that you're going to be great, you're going to be better than everybody around. The name that you bring up is Muhammad Ali. If Floyd Mayweather Jr. wants to say how great he is, he calls himself TBE, which is nothing but a rephrasing of greatest of all time, right? And they constantly measuring themselves against Muhammad Ali. You know, I saw it with Mike Tyson. I saw it with Holyfield. Deontay Wilder, that's what made me start feeling uncomfortable heading into the Tyson Fury fight, because people started doing it with Deontay Wilder. I refused to engage in it or to criticize Deontay Wilder for that. But at the same time, I couldn't help but be like, yeah, he's reached that level now because people are putting him up there with Muhammad Ali. So Ryan Garcia to say that Tank Davis would do for him what happened with Muhammad Ali, I would say, okay, well, then who's the opponent? Who's the opponent of Muhammad Ali that Gervonta Davis is, right? Because here you have Muhammad Ali, and first, when Ryan Garcia, I think, messed something up a little bit, because he said people didn't really get the respect from Deontay to Muhammad Ali, and they said he was just talking until, you know, I think he was referring to the Sonny Liston fight. But the truth of the matter is that Muhammad Ali really never got his credit until the George Foreman fight 10 years later. See, the thing with Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston was, and you can still see it in the way that they talk about the fight. There was actually an HBO documentary about Sonny Liston, and of course, if you do you have a documentary about Sonny Liston, you're going to bring up Muhammad Ali because those guys are connected, you know, forever and ever and ever. Those guys are attached to one another, or whether or not Sonny Liston's whole career is attached to Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay at the time. You hear them talk about how Liston took a dive in the first fight. The Mafia was involved in the second, you know. He took a dive in the first, he took a dive in the second. Really, if it wasn't for, you know, that or the Nation of Islam threatening him, that he would have beat up and he would have stopped Muhammad Ali. So Muhammad Ali didn't get that. He didn't get that credit at that point in time. When Muhammad Ali really got his credit was after he beat George Foreman, because Muhammad Ali had been counted out. Because he had already he had been out for 2 years. He lost to Joe Frazier in the fight of the century, probably the biggest fight ever. Muhammad Ali, probably the biggest fight ever, and Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier won. He lost that. Then he lost to Ken Norton. George Foreman came up, knocked out Joe Frazier, knocked out Kenny Norton, and then Ali was going to fight the guy that knocked out two people that had beaten Ali. Nobody believed Ali could win. When Ali won the fight, everybody was shocked. He was like a 60-1. Don't quote me on this percentage. It's like some ridiculous 60-1 underdog, and he winds up beating up and stopping George Foreman. And even then, they didn't really give him his credit, because I've never heard mainstream media talk about that fight as if in the manner that when I watched the fight, what I saw Muhammad Ali just outclass the dude, period, beat him up and stop him, right? What they said was he was laying up against the rope and took this ridiculous amount of punishment. And then, you know, George Foreman tired, all of that stuff. Anyway, that's not how I saw the fight. I saw Muhammad Ali just whooping him. But my point is that is when Muhammad Ali really became this, you know, larger than life. Well, he was larger than life, but when he really got his respect from all the people that just called him a loudmouth. Now, a whole lot of people continued not to like him, but after you beat Sonny Liston in the early 1960s, or was it in 1964? When you beat Sonny Liston then, and then you turn around and you're supposed to be done and you beat George Foreman, man, you are just legendary status. And I hate to break this to you, Ryan, but you're not getting that off of Gervonta Davis, okay? Because Gervonta Davis is not a George Foreman level champion. He's not the man. He is the money man at 135 pounds, but he is not the man at 135 pounds. Right now, the man in the ring at 135 pounds is Vasily Lomachenko, and the person that will be the man in the ring at 135 pounds is going to be the winner of Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez. Gervonta Davis is the money guy, and he's the money guy that really is much smaller than Ryan Garcia. But again, back to my original point of the video. I don't care how tall Ryan Garcia is. Ryan Garcia is just not as good a fighter. He's not as talented as Gervonta Davis, man. And I don't understand how anybody could really can't see that. Most of the people that people are saying can beat Gervonta Davis, like the Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. Those guys except for Vasily Lomachenko, but those guys are all going to be up there at welterweight. They're much bigger guys than Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is, in my opinion, man, Gervonta Davis is a very, very special fighter, man. I still don't understand how people act as if he somehow got exposed against Yuriorkis Gamboa, who he knocked out and suffered like no damage from and completely dominated the whole fight. But, that's just my take on it. But I appreciate what Ryan Garcia got to say. I just think he's out there. He's out there a little bit. But again, man, I appreciate this kid. I appreciate all of the self-promotion that he's initiated. Same thing with Devin Haney. I love that Devin Haney's out there talking and doing his thing. And I just hope during this whole Corona thing that there are more of these fighters that get out, make statements, on your social media, give your thoughts on other fights and things, because it's going to get your name out there and it's going to keep people interested in you and wanting to see you fight. But they're going to have to do the groundwork on that. Otherwise, man, you're just going to get a lot of these young dudes are going to get lost in the shuffle, Anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.